Is it possible to make a rideable 24-speed road bike with a $300 knockoff parts kit? Let's find out. If you've ever taken a hard look, the bike industry appears to be run mainly by adolescent fanboys that get all googly-eyed over expensive high-end bikes and components. It's at the point where bike companies are rolling out bikes in the $8,000 to $12,000 price range without a whiff of embarrassment. Now, I'll admit, sometimes I fall into this category of bike nut, and I've had more than my share of bike gear that way outclasses my abilities as an athlete. So that begs the question, how expensive does a bike need to be in order to satisfy the average cyclist, or even the above average cyclist? Can your typical bike snob be happy riding a cheap bike? Now, of course, cheap and not cheap are relative terms. It really depends on what your financial resources actually are. But I think it's fair to say that a SRAM Red level Axis component group is at the top end of the price spectrum, with a complete Grupo running into the thousands of dollars. And that brings us to the reason we're here. Can we put together a decent bike using this Chinese knockoff 12-speed DriveTrain kit? Now, first, a little background. I was poking around on Amazon looking at bike stuff, you know, the way adolescent fanboys do, and I came across this Empire build kit from Sensah. Never heard of them, right? It's a 2x12 system that they say works like a double tap from another brand. The kicker is the kit only costs $288, including shipping from China. A SRAM rival mechanical kit with the same parts costs $427. Now, there may be some cheaper deals than that online, and I did see a rival 22 kit with crank and brakes for $497. But that was from AliExpress, and who knows if that kit is legit or not. I bought the kit mainly out of curiosity to see what the heck $298 buys you. Now, keep in mind that even a lower-end SRAM Grupo is like 3 times the price. I mean, how can you possibly even get this pile of metal and plastic to New Jersey from the other side of the planet for only $298? So on first examination, the quality is not too bad. It's not exactly Dura-Ace, but it's better than I expected. The castings are a bit rough, but they're solid, and the front derailleur seems fairly robust. And while the finish is a little rough, the carbon lever blades and the rear derailleur cage are reasonably stout. Overall, the fit and finish are not too bad. Okay, so that leaves us with how these parts will perform on a bike and the crux of why we're here talking about this. What kind of machine can we really put together? Now, I've enlisted one of our resident bike snobs here at Cyclecraft who happens to have a frame and some miscellaneous parts to throw at this project. And he was willing to be our test bunny. After we get this Franken bike together, Kevin is going to hold his nose and ride this thing and report back on how it performs with his honest feedback. Honest, right?
Honest,
You'll tell
sure.
us the truth?
Yeah.
So Kevin, tell us about this frame that we'll be using.
So this is my 2005 Cannondale R800 SE that I purchased right here at Cyclecraft back in '05. It's an alloy frame, carbon fiber fork that we'll talk about in a second. It's been a great bike for me. It's the bike that started me off in the sport of cycling. So
cool. So overall, tell me about the ride quality of the bike. I mean, you like it, you don't like it. What's good, what's not?
It's great. I mean, it's for the time it was pretty good, and I think it holds up pretty well. I mean, Cannondale's still using this geometry for a lot of bikes right now. So.
And was this a made in USA? Yeah, this is one of the last made in USA frame sets, which is pretty cool. One thing I've noticed about this is anyone who's paying attention to this, what we're doing here, if you are an adolescent fanboy cyclist, you know that fork comes off of a Scott CR1 road bike. That's probably also a 2008, 2009 vintage.
Something like that.
How did you wind up with that on there?
Well, the stock fork got lost at some point for this bike in the many times it's been apart. So this I just pulled out of the parts bin one day and threw it on there and said, yeah, let's do it.
And rode like a dream. Geometry
Sure.
worked and everything.
Yeah.
So how many kits have you had on this bike in terms of parts groups?
Probably about 3.
Well, you had the original 105.
It started with 105 9-speed. Then I had it built up as a weirdo single speed that didn't work so great. And then I recently had it as it's like a mishmash of SRAM 10-speed stuff that I was using for an indoor trainer bike.
Okay, and you've had some experience with SRAM components on here, so this is actually a pretty fair test. You've got experience
Sure.
With that. All right, so awesome. So we're going to get this bike together, but before we do that, we're going to have to go take it over to the shop, and we're going to have Joe, our Director of Technical Services, put this bike together for us, and he's going to give us his assessment of the quality of the parts and how it goes together and tuning and that sort of thing. So that's it for the first part of this video. We got to get to building this thing, and then we'll see you out on the road.
Take care of my baby, please.
no Cannondale Cat 8s will be injured in the performance of this
Okay.
kit build. All right, and we'll see you later.